Hey everybody, Boone White with the 323 Concept Furniture Restoration here. Today I want to talk about finishes. What finishes are our favorites? Which ones have we used in the past that we maybe moved on from? And which ones do we use today and why do we use them? So today I'm going to split this into three segments. I'm going to split this into our primers and paints, and then I'm going to talk about which stains we use, and then finally I'm going to finalize the video by talking about what clear coats we use to put that clear sealer on the top to protect our finishes. So without further ado, let's jump right in and get to it. So first, let's talk about primers. We have used quite a few primers in our day, and we've been doing this 5-6 years now. And lately, the primer that I have been using over the last year or two that I really like is the BIN shellac primer. That's made by Zinzer, and it's like I said, it's a shellac-based primer. And the reason I like this shellac-based product so much is that it pretty much will stick to any surface, and any product will stick to it. So it's great at adhering and everything adhering to it. That's basically what it comes to when it comes down to a primer, you know. The one drawback that I really just don't like about the shellac primer is, one, the smell. The fumes are pretty terrible when it comes to a shellac primer. So we are researching, we are looking for maybe some good water-based primers. I've been doing a lot of research over the last 6 months, maybe looking for a new product there. But as for now, the one that I have really loved just lays down a really good smooth coat. It's easy to sand, it dries fast. But like I said, the only drawback is that it takes quite a while, or the fumes are real bad. But other than that, works really good. The one thing I have noticed that you have to be careful on is don't lay on coats that are too thick too quick. Shellac is a brittle product if you're not careful. You can, like I said, if you layer it on too thick, you can create some issues there. So you just got to be careful. You'll start seeing some like alligator cracking across the finish if you're not careful with it. So, but other than that, that is our favorite primer. It has worked really well for us over the last year or two. But like I said, we are doing some research, hoping to maybe find some good water-based primers here in the future. I've been hearing some really good things about the Renner primers and also the CIC water-based primers. So hoping to do some experiments with those, because to be honest, the more green products I can get, the happier I am. If I can gravitate towards waterborne products over the shellac-based primer, I'd be a lot happier camper. So in the comments, if you don't mind, let me know what finishes y'all are using, which ones work great. I'd love to hear some recommendations and maybe try it out here in the future. Without further ado, let's jump right into which paints we use. We do use a couple different paints. Over the last year, I have been using mainly 2 different paints. I've been using General Finishes, a mixture of their milk paints, chalk paints, and then just custom paints mixed into their white poly. But that's been pretty rare as far as that goes. I've mainly just been using their stock milk paint colors. They come really thick, so they do require a little bit of thinning on our part. And I guess I should preface this by saying we shoot all of our finishes using the Apollo Precision 5 Pro, which is a 5-stage turbine. And the gun that comes with it is the Apollo 7700 atomizer gun, which is bar none the best atomizing HVLP gun that I've ever used. I've used, you know, half a dozen or so, and that one is just excellent at laying down really good atomized coats, which in the end gets you a really smooth, great finish. So that being said, using the Apollo Precision 5 in conjunction with these milk paints. The milk paints, if you open up a can of General Finishes milk paint, you'll notice they're really thick. So you're paying like $30, $40 for a quart of this paint, but in essence, once you thin it down, you're probably going to get close to 2 quarts of paint, which in furniture terms and furniture work, that actually goes quite a ways, you know. Almost a full bedroom set probably when you're talking about 2 quarts. So even a quart can get you through a couple pieces. So that being said, I do use those. It's not my go-to paint this year. My go-to paint has actually been Renner finishes, and I'll put in the link in the description of our video where you can find those finishes. The last year we've been using Timberlane finishes to get those products. They're pretty good about getting it to you within 3-4 days of ordering, and you can custom order just about any paint color that you want. So you got customers that maybe don't want those stock colors, those stock General Finishes colors. You know, have them pick out pretty much any Sherwin-Williams, Benjamin Moore color off of the swatches, off of those fan decks that the stores have, and you send that color in when you order the paint, and I'll put which paint I order. I think it's the 851, but they've got so many different numbers, it's hard to keep track of all those, but if I'm not mistaken, I use the 851, and like I said, you just put in there SW6001 or whichever paint color you need mixed, and they'll do custom colors in there. The finish is the best finish I've ever put down as far as paint goes. The great thing about Renner products is they're industrial based coating, so they're going to be extremely durable, which is one thing that I've always looked to do in furniture work, is get the most durable finish on and the most durable product on the furniture that we're finishing. I want my customers to be happy with the finishes. I want them to have something that's going to last them for years and years to come. So that's what I love about Renner finishes. They make these paints to where they are what you call two-component paints, a 2K, and that basically means you add in a hardener to this paint that you're spraying, and it catalyzes it, and it like I said, it hardens it and helps it to be extremely durable and long-lasting. So that's what I love about the Renner finishes. You can get by with the single-component finishes as well. They don't. Something to keep in mind is if you use the two-component paints, they have a pot life to them, so you can't let it sit in there for a very long time. You know, I think 90 minutes maybe might be the pot life on those. Maybe a few hours, I can't remember, but it's not a super long time. You definitely can't leave it in there all day. So if you want to stay away from that, the single component paints that they sell are still really good, but I would definitely recommend, if you do that, is to clear coat over the top at the end and give it a really good finish. And that's just one, it'll sort of give you even a smoother finish at the end, but to me it gives me a peace of mind that it's going to seal that paint in there and just help it to be that much more durable in the end product. So that being said, let's gravitate from paints into our Topcoat sealers. I've gone through quite a bit of finishes over the last 5-6 years. When we first started, we used pretty much what was easiest. Since we were beginners, we used wipe-on poly. That's pretty much just a regular polyurethane thinned out 50% with mineral spirits. But we bought the pre-made Minwax wipe-on polys, and that worked good for a couple years. Bad thing is it had some significant dry times, and you had to put on 6-7 coats, so it would take us several days to finish one piece of furniture. So we never have really been a huge advocate of wiping on or brushing on finishes. We've done a few like that, but those just, you can get away from having bubbles in there, but we just weren't great at it, so we gravitated towards going the spraying route when it came to finishing. And when I did, I never looked back. I loved it. I started with a Fuji 3-stage turbine, worked great, required a little bit more thinning of the products, and then I gravitated towards a, what was my second one? A Titan Cap Spray 115, which is a 6-stage turbine. It was a little bit more powerful than the one I've got now, but it had no adjustability really. Or not as much adjustability, it had a little bit, but especially the gun that I used on there, the Titan gun was nowhere near this Apollo gun that I have now. I ended up winning a contest a couple years ago and got one of these Apollo guns for winning the contest, and loved the gun so much that I ended up buying a turbine and have just never turned back on using that gun and that turbine. So, so once we started spraying finishes, we started using a couple different options. We used the general finishes. I think it was high endurance poly, if I remember correctly, and it was a really good product. We used that one. It worked pretty good. Had very few issues along the way. It was pretty user friendly. Quick drying times. It's waterborne, which is great. And then I think from there I've used Sayerlac, which is a Sherwin-Williams product, and it worked really good. We used 5 gallons of that, but I just kept hearing more and more positive things about Renner finishes. So in the end, I ended up trying Renner and just absolutely loved the finish that I was getting out of Renner. And it is a waterborne finish, so once again, I've been trying to gravitate all my products towards waterborne finishes. and have absolutely loved it. Once again, I think I used a mixture of a couple different finishes. I think I've used the 851 sealer, and I've also used the, I think, 1050. I'll look at my cans before I post the video, and I'll put some links of what products we're using if y'all want to try them out. Let me know. We can hook you all up with some people that sell the product. But if you're using a clear coat that you like, I'd love to hear what y'all are using that works good for you. This is just us. I do love testing new products, so if you have some recommendations and would like to see us try it and see how we like it, we would love to try it out. But usually, just to save money, I like to buy these products in 5-gallon containers, and that takes us quite a while to work through it. You know, we do furniture work primarily. Every now and again, we'll do a big cabinet job or something, but for the most part, I do furniture. So 5 gallons will literally last me 6 months and go a long way. But we really have been loving the Renner sealers as well. So lastly, let's talk about stains. When I first started, we just used Minwax oil-based stains, which were really good. But one thing I didn't like about some of the Minwax oil-based stains is sometimes it would take 2-3 coats to get the color that I was really wanting to achieve. And secondly, they are oil-based, so they took pretty much overnight to dry. I think they had like an 8-hour dry time. Or something like that. Pretty much, you know, you put it on, you can't clear coat it till the next day. Well, a couple years passed by of using that, and I started using the Varathane premium finishes, which dry in 1 hour. You can dry and coat in 1 hour, and that has just been great. Anything I can do to safely speed up our process and, you know, make our business more efficient, I try to do that. So we have been using the Varathane finishes for the last year, and I've really been happy with them. Not only do they dry quickly, they have been really good about achieving the finish that I want in just one coat of applying it. So one thing just to be careful of, they are fast drying, so if you're working on really big surfaces, you really got to be careful not to try to spread yourself too thin and do the whole surface all at once. So it can get real blotchy real quick or dry out too quickly on you. So you can maybe use an extender or just work in smaller areas. But you just got to be careful depending on the temperatures that you're working in and all that. So, and once again, if you're using a stain that y'all love, you know, let me know what y'all are using, and we'll try it out. But for us, over the last year or two, we've been using Varathane, and we've been getting some really good results with that mixture of those stains, that paint and primer, and then with those sealers, the clear coats that we're using. So thank you all so much for watching today. If you don't mind, smash that like button. That'll help us out with the YouTube algorithm and spreading our videos further. And we just really thank y'all for watching. If you know anybody who might like this video, don't forget to hit subscribe and hit that notification bell so you receive future updates, and share the video. If you've got any recommendations for future videos, we'd love to hear it in the comment, and we will see y'all next time.